Hello, so we are going to look at my settings on my Panasonic UB820 on a 4K UHD Blu-ray disc that has Dolby Vision on it. So we're going to be looking at the Master and Commander disc. It's one of my absolute favorite 4Ks of 2025. And then here is the Panasonic UB820 remote that comes with it. Here is a cheap knockoff Amazon remote of the UB9000, and you can see them next to each other, that this Amazon remote is much better than the one that comes with it. So I highly recommend that, especially when we do our HDR10 settings on the next video. So for now, we're focusing on Dolby Vision, and usually I just look on Blu-ray.com if I want to reference, but the disc oftentimes will say Dolby and it'll say Vision and Atmos. Sometimes it just says Vision, Atmos. But this video is not about how to check your disc, which HDR it has. I will leave that up to you. So we're just going to put it into the 820, and we will go over the specific settings on my 820, on my UB820 for a 4K disc that has Dolby Vision. So here we go. Now a quick note on the TV. This is a 85-inch Sony X950H that has been professionally calibrated by Value Electronics in New York. So when they calibrated it for me, I asked them about the UB820 and I said, what settings should I have on this? And they basically said, let the TV do a lot of it and just keep everything as out of the box as you can on the 820. So once this disc loads up, we're going to go through what the settings are for playback. So since I've just been messing around looking at the settings, I'm going to push the home button. Here we go. Then we're going to play the disc. Now, if I push the status button on the remote while it's playing, it is going to say Dolby Vision. And my TV is set to Dolby Vision Bright right now. That's usually what I prefer. Now, the reason it says Dolby Vision is because earlier in my main settings, I just have Dolby Vision set to on. All right, so now we are going to, just for fun, we'll push the playback info. Here's the stuff you can see. Push it one more time and you see this. So I'm going to push the option button, and here's what we get. The movie keeps playing. So you have the soundtrack is showing the Dolby Atmos, secondary video, don't need that. Okay, so we're good there. Here is where it's really different. See this? This whole section is not available for Dolby Vision. So optimum HDR, luminance, color, sharpness, noise reduction, none of that. You cannot even go into any of that if Dolby Vision is on. Here's the sound one. So really on this player for Dolby Vision, it's going to be all in your initial setup. So we're going to go to the home button and look at that initial setup in regards to Dolby Vision. So pushing the home button. All right, so we are going to go over to the setup, to player settings. All right, so most of this stuff is going to be the same no matter what you do, but this right here is the big thing. Dolby Vision setting is on. So that means when a Dolby Vision movie is put in, it automatically goes to Dolby Vision, which means a ton of the other settings are not available and you don't even actually have to worry about it. So here's just a quick look at the rest of the other settings. Let's go back over to video. Okay, audio. So one quick note here under the HDMI section. So from the UB820, I have two HDMIs coming out. One is going straight to the TV, and the other is going to this Sony HD ST5000 soundbar, which has these upward firing speakers, and then it has all, wow, that's really dusty and embarrassing. And it has all these, and you can see the little kid fingerprints. Oh my gosh. And it simulates Dolby Atmos. So I have one HDMI going there so that it isn't bottlenecked through the TV, and then one HDMI going to the TV. And you do that right there. All right, for Dolby Vision on the UB820, it's actually pretty simple. Just make sure you have it set to on and make sure your TV is compatible. For me, I have two choices on the TV, Dolby Vision Dark and Dolby Vision Bright. Dolby Vision Bright is obviously better when you're in a bright room or when the sun's out and your blinds aren't quite stopping all the sun coming through. Dolby Vision Dark is when all the lights are out. I've found that I switch to that. I would say 75% of the time on my TV, I watch things on Dolby Vision Bright, and I like how that looks better. So my question for you is, can you tell a difference between Dolby Vision and other HDR? Or going even bigger, can you tell a difference between an HDR Dolby Vision 4K Blu-ray and a normal Blu-ray as far as the colors go? Obviously the detail's higher, but I always wonder if people can see the color difference. Okay, well that's pretty simple settings for Dolby Vision. I'll include a link to this. I don't do the affiliate link, so it'll just be an Amazon link to this if you're interested in replacing the crappy stock remote from the UB820. So anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any amazing Dolby Vision movie recommendations. Always looking for more. Thanks. Bye.